Hello! Today I'm going to walk you through how I made my medieval shift dress. You guys know that I love costumes and I've been wanting to make this one for a while, especially since for a lot of historical costuming, the shift is the very first piece, that everything else goes on top of. So it's way overdue. Let's get started. Step 1, make sure you take measurements. Now the pattern I was doing is fairly simple. I've shown some examples here that I found in my research, but it's basically a bunch of rectangles and triangles, and you just sew them together. So yeah, I did a lot of research, but I posted the most helpful patterns here so that you can see. But right now I'm just drawing out the pattern on my fabric, measuring it, marking it, and then I'll go ahead and cut it out. You want the main body of the dress, which is the largest rectangle, to be to your ankles. At least that's where I wanted mine to be. But you can, if you want it shorter, if you want it longer, but basically you want it from your shoulder to wherever you want it to hit on your body lengthwise, plus seam allowance. And that's what you're measuring and marking to cut out. As far as how wide you want to make the dress, for this pattern, you'll be going by your shoulder to shoulder measurement. It's from the end of your left shoulder to your right shoulder. That's how wide you want to make it. I'm actually a bit paranoid, so you'll see me double and quadruple checking my measurements again and again just to make sure that everything is going right. And then even as I went, I made some more measurements, like my wrist to elbow, that I didn't include in my first picture, but I did end up measuring those to make sure that I had it for the sleeves. Historically, fabric would have been very expensive, and whether from labor and cost and hard to come by, especially in the medieval ages. And so you tried to be very cost effective with your fabric and have as little waste as possible. And so that's what I actually am trying to do as well. And so I'm measuring even the extra fabric and seeing what else I can make that into. If I can do the sleeves, which I do believe that I made this part into the sleeves. And in case I didn't mention it, because I don't think I did, this fabric is actually linen. So I've got white linen that I chose for this, and it's a lightweight because I live in a hot climate and I didn't want anything too heavy, especially since this is the underlayer and there's more going up on top. During the medieval ages, linen would have been quite common, either linen or wool were some of the most common fabrics available at the time, and especially the more affordable ones. So linen would have been often used as the layer to protect your clothes from your skin, and also your skin from the clothes, because wool was often the outside layer, which could be a little irritating. Now that I've cut the main rectangle part, I'm putting in the neckline. And the neckline, it depends on how low you want it and how wide your neck and your head is. My head is actually kind of big, I feel like, or maybe maybe I just have a skewed reference, because whenever I buy wigs, I feel like they're always too small. So maybe it's just the ones I'm buying, but I feel like I have a big head. But I cut the line from leaving a few inches on each side for the shoulder and a big enough hole so that my head would fit through. Now the front piece and the back piece will be different for how you cut them. The front piece, I think I took down about 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches from my collarbone, and the back piece, I only did half that. Doesn't look like that here because I didn't take it long enough, so I actually ended up taking it longer. Lessons learned. And here we see me measuring parts of my arm, because I am going to use this extra fabric on the side for the sleeves. So I did the armhole, my elbow, bent and straight, and basically just all up and down my arm to make sure that it would fit and nothing would be crazy feeling when I could bend it straight, didn't matter. You want the sleeves to be wide enough to go all the way around your arm to fit into the shoulder hole. And then you want it to be long enough to go from your shoulder all the way to your wrist, slightly bent so that you have room, because if you do it where it's totally straight, it might be too tight. or too short. Honestly, my goal for this shift was not to be super form-fitting. You can do it that way, but this one I wanted to just be very comfortable, and it wouldn't really be seen anyway because I don't intend to have this visible. It'll just be an underlayer. Here I'm making the godets. The godets will be added to the main rectangle place to add fullness in the skirt. It's what gives it the flare. I'm making 4. Sorry, my brain just died. I'm making 4, so it'll be 2 for each side. For the length, you want it to be from your natural waist to where you want it to hit lengthwise, which for me is my ankles. So it's from my natural waist to my ankles plus seam allowance, and that's how long you want the piece to be. And these are going to be triangles. As for how wide you want the bottom of the triangle, it is up to personal preference and how full you want the skirt. I think that I went for about 9-foot circumference at the bottom of the skirt, about 18 inches per panel-ish, which would make it pretty similar because I think my shoulder to shoulders was about 18 inches, and then I made the bottom of each godet about that much, and then just rounded out the bottom. And then after that, you just line up the top of the triangle to your measurement on the bottom, connect it, and you're good to go. I hope this all makes sense. As I hear myself talk, I'm like, Ashley, you're confusing. Sorry. I confuse myself. I'm probably overcomplicating this. But hopefully between watching me doing it and my descriptions and the pictures I showed in the beginning with the pattern, hopefully it all makes sense. Feel free to ask me any clarifying questions in the comments. Part of my problem is actually that I filmed this a long time ago and I just never got around to doing the voiceover. And of course I didn't take notes or anything, so I'm like trying to do this all off of memory and clearly failing. Why did I wait so long, you may ask? Great question. Oh man, I was working and in cosmetology school at the time, and any downtime I had, I just didn't feel like doing responsible things more than I already had to do. But you know, household and trying to keep up relationships and all the things. You get me. And you're probably also thinking, for those who follow me, Ashley, you graduated school last September. That was forever ago. You've had like 6 months to do that. True. There's a thing called burnout, which I definitely went through. And when I graduated school, I did a vacation actually, and it was fabulous. Much needed. After I got back from my vacation, I was solely focused on studying for the state board exam. And I think I did that for about 3 weeks. Besides my job, of course, I was still working. And then once I passed the state board, I was stupidly nervous for that. I was way over prepared. I shouldn't have been so nervous. It was actually easy. I was like, dang it, Ashley, all this anxiety for nothing. It's okay. Easy test. All done now, behind me. And I'm officially licensed. And then I was job searching, looking at salons. And it was just a lot of change. Comes down to it. Then holidays. And then just excuse after excuse, basically. Things just kept coming up. and so it never happened. And I was slowly working on editing and making this video. And I'm finally getting around to the voiceover. Better late than never, I suppose. Right now you may be thinking, Ashley, why are you chopping this piece in half? You could have left it whole. And to that I answer, I just wanted them to be exactly the same on both sides. And if I hadn't chopped this in half, it wouldn't have looked exactly the same, or maybe there's no way to do it otherwise that I'm just not thinking of. But in the moment, that's what my thought process was. Here I'm making the gussets. The gussets go underneath the arm and were used to reduce the amount of stress on the fabric in the underarm area, because you're doing a lot of moving and lifting and up and down, the arms just get a lot of stress in that spot. And so the gussets are meant to relieve the stress in that area and make it last longer. You can make them bigger or smaller based on your body type, of course. I think that I did mine 4 inches by 4 inches. It's a square. You want 2 of them, 1 for each arm. Last, all the pieces are cut out, and this is what it looks like when they're laid by each other. You can see the dress taking form, and it's really exciting. And now it's time to pin everything together and then sew it up. Enjoy this video watching me pin things together. I started by pinning the godets onto the main body of the garment, and I also pinned the front and back pieces together. Skip ahead, skip ahead. So I sewed up the godets on each side, And I guess I decided you didn't need to see the process of sewing the sides up all the way, so too bad. Moving on to the sleeves. So I sewed up the front and the back portion of the sleeve, and now I'm adding the gusset. And I did this wrong so many times, so don't look too closely at this part of the video because it's not right. Oh my gosh, the amount of unpicking I did made me want to cry. Yep, here's me looking at it, realizing I'm an idiot, this is totally wrong, and second guessing all of my life choices. And thus started unpicking and unpicking. I think I still did it wrong after this because I didn't learn from my mistakes and I had to unpick it again. Now I've attached it the correct way. This is what it should look like. Okay, so pay attention to this part. This is correct. And then I sew the front and the back together on the opposite side, and I'm ironing down all my seams. Very important. Make sure you iron the seams and lay them flat. Once your gussets are sewn into your sleeve arms and you've done the ironing, it's time to actually attach the sleeve to the main body of the dress. And the arms should line up exactly with this design. There's no need to do any like bunching up to make it fit. In this design, it should fit exactly right, all straight. So I just go around the circle, pinning it straight until the whole arm is matched up. And this is what it should look like at this point with our sleeves attached. If you notice there's a little bulge where I tapered my sleeves, I could actually fix that. I didn't bother because I was being lazy and nobody's gonna see it. Now on to the hemline. I did a double folded 1/4 inch hemline and I sewed it by hand. So it did take a while, but it was worth it. I did the same process for the neckline and for the wrist hem as well. And that's it, we're all done. This should have been very quick, but I kept making mistakes, so this ended up taking a lot longer than I would have liked. I learned a lot on the way though, especially because the next part of the costume that I'm making is a medieval Bleo dress, and it has a lot of the same pattern pieces to it. So this was very useful first run. You could see that my godets are too high up in the body. Of course, there's the taper on my arm I could fix. And my hemline isn't straight all the way across either. Don't worry, I do end up fixing that later, just not in this video. Looking at it now, I would even change the size of the gussets that I made because I'm actually just a small human and I think I could have made the gussets even smaller. But enough about all the things I did wrong. It's easily fixed, and in the end, we have a successful shift. So woohoo!